everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Talk Football Live. We'll be talking about the Arsenal City game today, looking at where the game will be won, what managers are likely to do from Pep and Arteta. And real quick, before we go ahead, just please do us a favor. This is really encouraging for us. Just hit that subscribe button. It's just a click for you, but it means so much for us. It's encouragement for us to keep coming back every week and keep doing this for you guys. So thank you. So, Biodun, Charles, we're looking over to an exciting game this weekend. Arsenal and City went at it, last season. Arsenal spending so much time at the top of the league and City eventually winning the title, So, as of last season, these were the best two teams, in the league. We're coming into it again this season. Both teams are right there again, going at it at the top of the league. Arsenal is unbeaten so far. City is top of the league. But some key news coming into this, right? We have some possibility of big players missing. We know Rodri is definitely suspended with the red card that he got that has him suspended for 3 games. Bukayo Saka is a doubt. Arteta mentioned this morning that he's in contention. We know he limped off during the week against Lens, and it remains to be seen whether he'll be fit enough to start the game. He hasn't been seen in training so far. Martinelli, who is also a key mainstay for Arsenal, has been injured and is likely to miss this game. So, again, very good teams nonetheless. We have big stars available, but we have key players injured and out. De Bruyne is also going to be missing for City. That's a fact. Yeah. So, that aside, Charles, where do you see, the tactical surprises happening in this game? We've seen Pep and Arteta both do very interesting things in the league. Arsenal hasn't won in 15 meetings against Guardiola in the league. Is there a chance for Arsenal, or do you just see Pep continuing his bullying run over Arsenal in this game?
Realistically, to answer the last question you asked, I think there's a chance for Arsenal. If Wolves can do it, Arsenal can do it. That's number one. And where would this game be won? I actually think this game, as usual, when it comes to Guardiola, I don't even like to look at what's going on the pitch. I think the game is won or lost in Guardiola's head. Won or lost on the bench. Won or lost in the backroom staff where the tactical plan is being done. Now, you mentioned that Rodri is out. Rodri is, we'll say he's been a key player for City since like last season. He was in Champions League. He was one that scored goal in the Champions League. He's been very, very effective this season also so far. So I think that midfield will be very, very important. So on the pitch, the midfield will be very, very important. I look forward to see what Pep is going to bring on. Actually, I look forward to see the formation Pep is going to play. Because Rodri being out, we know one thing. Pep knows how to tweak stuff. He was one that invented the whole inverted winger or inverted defender from last season with the use of, what's his name? Cancelo. And at some point, they switched that up. And a lot of teams are adopting that now. So with Rodri being missing, we already know De Bruyne is missing. He's been missing for a minute. I look forward to see who's going to play in the midfield. You understand? But I also think going to us on Arsenal's side, Arsenal has what it takes. Bukayo Saka and Martinelli being out is the only problem. Because if Arsenal is going to beat City, I think they will need their full squad. Now, I'm not saying they can't beat City without their full squad, but if Saka and Martinelli are out, that's already a lot. But regardless of that, I also think Arsenal can bring the game to City and can win the game. Now, how would they do it? They have to be on their P's and Q's. Basically, have to be on their top performance from start to finish. Because regardless of who is out for playing for City, we know Pep is going to do what Pep has to do.
So you talked about at the start, right? Wolves did it. What do you think went wrong for City, and how do you think they rectify that in this game? It's obvious that they're going to miss a player of Rodri's caliber, who I think is the most important player for that City side. He started with Nunes and Kovacic against Wolves. Is that a factor? Do you think that's something that he repeats in this game, or what do you think he can do to capitalize or strengthen and counter the midfield that Arsenal might present in this game?
I think one thing is this. The Nunes and Kovacic start from last week is something they are not used to. So, because it's new to them, it didn't give the result they wanted. But it's been a week. So it's no longer technically new to them. So even if it comes up with the same formation, with the same players, I think because they probably have practiced it between last week and this weekend, I think realistically, I think it's going to work for them if they stick to it. Now, knowing Pep, as I mentioned earlier, Pep can switch things up. But I personally believe if he goes with the same formation against Wolves, and of course, if they've been practicing it all through the week, from last weekend till now, I think they can easily be effective with that formation, regardless of who he plugs into those positions.
Okay, hold that thought. So, Biodun, let me come to you on the subject of Bukayo Saka. Saka being out, do you think this is a game where Arteta might risk him, or what are the possible tweaks that Arteta can come up with in this game? Thomas Partey is back now. He's been available in training for about a week. We know he didn't play against Mons. Arteta said it was to give him some extra time to, work with the team. But he confirmed he will be in the squad. How do you think Arsenal lines up in this game?
Okay, so great point, and I want to make sure I'm going to try to respond to you, and I have some comment to respond to based on what Charles brought up, right? But to start with your question, ideally, let's just, and again, this is me. I hope Arteta would agree to that. If Saka was fully fit, I would start Saka. I prefer to start strong, right? And push back, score a couple of goals, in the first half, give confidence to the team, then take Saka off. Then us trying to chase the game by bringing in Saka. So it depends on how fully fit he is. If he's not fully fit, should we be risking him for possible longer layoff? I don't want that. But if he's fully fit, he can run, he can defend, he can support, he can push back, whether it's going to be Badio or it's going to be Netanyahu. I want him because you can't play against those defenders if you are not fully fit. That's the truth. Let's just agree on that. You're not going to come against Badio 75% fit. You're not going to come against Netanyahu. Even though this season so far, Netanyahu is becoming the weak point. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. He actually came out and said and apologized for the game against the Wolves. I mean, if you watch that game, Neto had fun. Neto was just having fun with Netanyahu, which is unexpected of anybody. Like, I mean, this is Netanyahu, one of the best players last season. So I don't know what is wrong with him. I don't know if it's the rotation thing that is affecting him or if it's a lot of work that he did last season and is here to hit the form this season. I don't know. But I'm glad he's in that form. I'm really glad. And I hope that Netanyahu stays in that form, so we beat them home and away. Then he can pick his form. I don't care, right? But other thing, I saw City line up for the week, midweek. He benched Netanyahu, he brought him up. So Guardiola is that crazy because he has other tools that he could use, right? So I'm hoping he plays Netanyahu, and if he does not, that means we need a very fit Saka to go against Badio. So that's number one. Let me just answer that question right up. Now, if we don't have Saka, what do? I think that's the next thing. I would expect somebody, I know it's not Saka, but I would expect somebody like Nelson to step up. So maybe I should give you my formation. With a fully fit Saka, let's have Saka on the right that he usually plays at. I would prefer to start Jesus because Martinelli is not available. Start Jesus on the left. Then start Trossard as the first line. The reason is because Trossard has not been effective as a winger, pushing back defender. He takes the ball and he tries to come back into the midfield and he loses the ball. He has not been consistent so far this season. Even the goals he scored for us, you guys will notice that he has to drift in a little bit into the middle to create those chances. So those are spaces that would expect Havertz to slot himself, but he's not. So maybe we should just keep Trossard as that first line for this game. Let Jesus play on the wing so that Jesus can push back. Because the only way you can fight City is to push back on their fullbacks. If you don't push back on their full, then you are inviting trouble into your midfield and into your attack. When we lost to them against the FA Cup last season, that only goal was scored by Netanyahu. So let's ask ourselves, Netanyahu was able to make it into our box to score that one single goal, right? Same thing. They attacked us. So I don't want that to happen this time around. I think we have an advantage. But I think it's unfortunate and a bit shameful if you are rejoicing based on the fact that Rodri is going to be missing. You understand? I mean, we are both 11-11. We should be able to go 2-2. But I also respect the quality that people like Rodri brings to the game, right? Is one of the word. Is actually the best in that position today. Is the best CM today in the world. So it's fine that he's out, but it's a bit shameful when we are rejoicing that Rodri is going to miss the game. Now that Rodri is out, so I would set up that way. And I will set up my midfield to play a double 4, just like we did in the Community Shield. So let's add Rice and Partey. Choke the midfield for the very first half so that we don't allow these guys to play their, bounce around. When they do that, it's frustrating. You don't even want to watch the game. So let's play both Rice and Partey in the midfield to push back against their dominating style of playing. I don't want to see that against City. Now, you said something, Charles, about play Wolves. No, we are not Wolves. Wolves are, inferior to Man City. The best they could do is play the way they play, which is 5-2-3 that they did. Play 5 players and be consistent and be disciplined in that back line. Arsenal is not going to play like that. We even though we know that City is better, right? Or City might be better, we're not going to push back and play defensive. It's not going to happen. So we're going to play the Arsenal way, and it means we're going to open up the game. We're going to allow them to play their game. We're going to play our game, and we're going to see who takes the chances. The annoying thing for me, and the thing that also scares me, is that Bernardo Silva is back from injury. So this gives Guardiola some more tools to use against us.
Yep.
Now, I understand that De Bruyne is out. I understand that Rodri is out. But he has 2 players that can play that midfield to fill the vacuum. And those are Phil Foden for me and Bernardo Silva. If he plays those 2 in the midfield, the problem they had last week against Wolves, losing the ball, Kovacic and Nunes losing the ball several times, that's not going to happen with Foden and Bernardo Silva.
Yep.
So those 2 people can hold the ball. Now, is it going to support them with what is this guy from Leeds?
Calvin Phillips.
Skipping on his name? Calvin Phillips. Is it going to support them with Calvin Phillips? I don't know. Is it going to trust Kovacic again? Maybe yes, right? But I think he's going to have to play Bernardo Silva and he's going to have to play Foden. Meaning we're going to have to be very patient and be diligent and be disciplined. Not losing the ball in the midfield to folks like Bernardo Silva and Foden that can, play in a way that they can win fouls. Grealish is not up to his form today, but Doku has been stepping up to help him, with the form that Grealish is yet to it. So it might be Doku starting and Foden on the right and having Alvarez play behind Alan and having Bernardo Silva support Kovacic. I see him set up that way. So I think it's still going to be a balanced game regardless. I don't think they're going to miss Rodri much because Bernardo Silva is coming back. But I think Arsenal should play that double pivot. I think we should bench Havertz. Havertz should not start this game. So just to wrap up, let's have Partey and Rice. Let's have Odegaard in their front. Let's have Jesus, Saka, and Trossard in the middle. If that doesn't happen, we're going to have to play either Emily Smith-Rowe or Reece Nelson on the side.
Okay. Good. Excellent analysis, Biodun. Charles, let me come back to you on City.
Yeah.
Where do you think City wins this game? We've seen this Arsenal defense, do a good job of stopping the almighty Erling Haaland. I think he's only scored once, maybe or maybe not even at all, so far against Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Is this a game where Haaland, is the joker for Pep, or where do you think goals come from for City in this game?
Yeah, so before I answer that question, I want to address something Biodun said about Arsenal is not Wolves. When I made the statement, if Wolves can do it, Arsenal can do it. I wasn't saying Arsenal and Wolves are on the same level. I'm saying City is not unbeatable. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. If Arsenal players, the team, go in with the mentality that we can beat these guys, you guys can do it. That comment was totally in favor of Arsenal, not in favor of City. Now, to answer your question of where can this be won, but Biodun hinted at this, which is what I said earlier. This game can be won in the midfield. I don't think Haaland is going to score. I don't think Haaland is going to shine because everybody knows it's Haaland and the defenders are going to step up their game, just man-marking him. But the people he puts in the midfield are going to be the deciding factor. Biodun mentioned Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva. I struggle with seeing both of them play in that midfield. One of them is probably going to play and the other one's going to be on the wing. But whoever dictates the play for City in that midfield, which is something that Rodri used to do, and Rodri's going to be out, which is something we saw that Kovacic and Nunes didn't do successfully last weekend. Whoever is put in that midfield to dictate the play Could be 2 players, could be 1 player, could be Calvin Phillips only, as Biodun mentioned. That is where the game is going to be won. Now, Calvin Phillips could be the joker because honestly, we haven't really seen Calvin Phillips in a minute. We haven't really seen him play 3, 4, 5 games in a row in a minute. So if Calvin Phillips gets to play, we really do not know what to expect. You understand? The likes of Bernardo Silva, Foden, we know how they play. We have an idea. Now, can you hold them? Probably not. They find a way to get the results, you know. And Bernardo Silva, as versatile as he is who I'll be expecting to play. Even if he plays Calvin Phillips. Could be Bernardo Silva and Calvin Phillips, or Bernardo Silva and Kovacic, Bernardo Silva or Nunez. But I think Bernardo Silva can be the key man because of how versatile he is. We know he was one Pep used as a left back, inverted left back last season. At some point, moved him up to the wing. In fact, it was the one Pep used to beat Arsenal last season, if you all remember correctly. So I think it's not just about Bernardo Silva, but he's a key man. But I think who plays in the City midfield determines what City does. Because realistically, City's whole team is set, except for 2 main men, Rodri and KDB. Who are they? They are midfielders. So take those 2 out, that's where this focus should be. And just as that's where the game can be won by City, that's also where the game can be won by Arsenal. Because whoever they put in there, if Arteta can figure out how to counter those new players, because they're still technically new in those positions for the team, that will determine Arsenal's results also.
Interesting. Okay. So it's down to the battle of the midfield for Arsenal versus City. But let me come back to something that you mentioned earlier. You talked about Kai Havertz, right? And you said you don't want to see Kai Havertz start in this game. Well, if we go back to the Community Shield, we saw that Arteta played Kai Havertz as that, number 9, kind of as an outlet option, and that seemed to work well against City. Is that something that you think Arteta could employ in this game? And if so, why do you think that might not be effective? Because you're against him starting. Is that an option? Would it be a good option?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. With the current games that have been played, I would have wanted him to start, but I think you would agree with me based on the games that have been played so far. Yeah, I think we might have to. Again, we've been testing different things. Even Trossard has not really come out, great for us. That's the truth. There are games he delivers, there are games he's not delivering. But looking at the current games, I think I would prefer to start Trossard and take him off. The problem is when you bring in Trossard and he's not effective, then you don't want to take him off again to embarrass him. So I'd rather start Trossard, and if Trossard doesn't deliver in the first half, he doesn't need to come out in the second half, then you can bring in Kai Havertz. The problem with Kai Havertz is we are trying to help his confidence as a team. I mean, watch last week, they had to give him the penalty kick to take just to boost his confidence. And the fans chanted his name just to help him. Against City, I don't know if he will be co-fitted again. You understand? That's a big game for him, and it's an home game. I don't know if he will be able to handle that. That's another thing. So maybe help him, let him start off the bench. But if Arteta decides to start him ahead of Trossard, I don't want him to play on the wing. Let him just stay as that first 9. You understand? Okay. Maybe that might be that game that really needs to step up. I don't know. But to be honest, the 2 options we have are not the best. Let's just agree. Either Trossard or Havertz, I don't think anyone is better. My point is not even about that. My point is Jesus, we might be at a deficit playing Jesus at that first 9. Because Guardiola will rely on his fullbacks to join the midfield. So Jesus can hold the ball and he can push them back. I think Jesus will be more effective on the wing. And that's why I'm shifting either Trossard or Havertz to the middle. But I think we should start Trossard first. Trossard, if he has the ball to himself, he will not think twice. He will take a shot. Havertz will think twice. He will look for somebody to pass to. And that is the difference between the 2 of them.
Okay. And so to add a little bit on to what you're saying, right, to summarize, it sounds like you're saying the key for Arsenal then is really who they set up in those attack spots, right? It seems like you're not too worried about the midfield and the defense. It's more a question of the game will be won for Arsenal depending on who plays in those 3 possessions.
Correct. Because the midfield, if we start Partey and Rice, we are giving up an attacking midfielder. That's fine. That means we're putting all the work on Odegaard. right?
Correct. Yeah.
But I would rather stop those crazy play from Bernardo Silva, Foden, Alvarez, than opening up the game too early and letting them run rampage and scoring 2 goals in the first half, which can demoralize the team. So I'd rather contain them at the beginning of the game by stopping them with Rice and Partey. Rice is young and he has the speed. When we are in possession, he can sprint forward, right? Partey can stay to read the game. So let's do that at the beginning of the game. Let's give the job to Odegaard. And Odegaard can spray to the wings. He can spray his passes to the wing instead of finding Havertz to play with. It has not been effective anyway. So why are we trying it again? I haven't seen any effective play between Odegaard and Havertz. So why should we be doing it again? Let him just stay alone and run after. If he plays Kovacic, run after Kovacic, he's going to lose the ball. If he plays Calvin Phillips, he's not as quick as Rodri. Odegaard should run after him. This point around, I want Odegaard to be on the guy that builds the game from the back for City. That's why I want Odegaard to steal the ball. Steal the ball from either Kovacic or Calvin Phillips and spray it to the wing. Sakano wants to do, there will be a chance the first striker should convert it. Until we have Antonio in January.
Charles, I'll give it a chance to respond to that from City's perspective.
Well, actually, this is even responding from City's perspective, but I was going to back up something Biodun said. I was going to say he made a statement about Havertz, and I totally agree. I think one of the most important things to do when you're playing against City is to bring your best 11. Bring your best level in fitness, bring your best level in confidence. Arsenal City game is not a game you want to test a player who's not confident, who has proven he isn't confident yet. So I do agree. Havertz knows how to wake up when he wakes up, but you don't want to take that gamble against City. Now, the issue of City, the game being won on the wings, which is what Biodun is saying, in the attack, pushing back City's wing backs. That's a fact. That's a big fact. But is it that easy to push back City's wing backs? So that right.
Charles, Neto single-handedly won that game for Wolves. You used Wolves as a blueprint. Neto single-handedly beats them. I mean, look at the run. He basically ran out Netanyahu. That's unbelievable. I wish Martinelli was. I wish Martinelli was available. Honestly,
so
if Martinelli was available, my confidence level will rise to 10%. Another additional 10%.
Here's what I'll say to you. Like I mentioned something earlier at the beginning. Whatever setup City brought against Wolves was a first-time trial. They've had a week to plan against us now. You understand? So it's going to be different. Netanyahu may not even play in that game. He may not even be done to start on the left wing. He may be Guardiola. He may be Grealish bringing on his best form. Maybe he has picked up form. He may be Doku. The issue is, I get Biodun's point, and I agree. Put pressure on the wings, push back. But at the same time, you can't forget that you're playing City. So as much pressure you're putting on, I think Biodun is doing one thing, which is something you mentioned. Ignoring the defense. Your defensive work starts to be top notch. So basically, you have to step up in every aspect of your game to be able to fight City. Now, what you're doing with pushing back their wing back is really, really good. But don't forget to also push back on other aspects, like in the midfield, which you mentioned with Odegaard. You mentioned Rice and Partey playing together. I really like that idea. But I think your defense also really matters, how you set up and how you push the whole team. That's it.
Wow, I love the analysis from you guys. Looking at it from City's perspective, it's a question of how do they set up the midfield and any interesting tweaks that Guardiola might do with that midfield.
Yeah.
From Biodun's perspective, is you will win the game if you set up the front three to make sure those fullbacks stay pinned back. Interesting. Well, we're in for a cracker on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to the game. It's bound to be exciting. Let's see if Arteta can finally, end the run against his teacher, or will the master prove he's still the master? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.